I'm Seamless, and this is the 44th 75K tutorial. This one was requested by ArpeggioDaddyBoss, and this was a sound from the Dog Blood track, Cello Ride, and it's this. It's actually surprisingly into that track. It was pretty cool. And here's what I got. I almost got it in just one citrus, but I had to actually use some compression outside of it. So that's why we get a patcher. Super, not necessarily basic. I mean, what's happening outside of citrus is pretty basic, but what's going on inside citrus is actually pretty cool. So, the first thing I want to look at here actually is what's going on here. You can tell how, you can see the sort of the note moving up and down, you know, on the main sort of portion of the sound. But then you see that top bit kind of stay there. It does actually move, but it doesn't move very much. There's a lot of things that could have been done to make this. And actually, my first assumption was that this was done with massive and done using massive frequency shifter, because sort of the way that this feels and looks is that it reminds me a lot of high pass filtering, but the harmonics aren't necessarily the way they would be, and this feels more like a regular note. And so that could actually have been just the frequency shifter moving around and being the note, and that's why the rest of the harmonics would kind of stay where they were. But there's a lot about that didn't make a lot of sense, so I didn't actually try to do that. So, brute forcing it is. And the way that we did this is that there's sort of two primary components to this, in my version. There's kind of the main bit, and then there's noise. And a tiny bit of distortion on the main bit. And a portamento. Now, what's about this is that this is basically just noise going into a bandpass filter that's just keeping it super duper tight. And this is also going into the distorted filter just a teensy bit, but like only a little bit. So it still moves with the note. So what I did was I went to the keyboard mapping and I made a super slight kind of angle on what I perceive to be the main note, which is D sharp here. So it does still move, but not a lot. So it will kind of move with, but the profile still stays the same. That's what's up with that. So that's what the secondary part is, just noise going in there. The main part is a sine wave 4 octaves high. I'm playing this at bass level, so like I'm high passing it outside so we can't see it, but it's I'm just playing it at bass level, and then it's being ring modulated by this guy, which is a triangle wave that's been tensioned a bit and moved a little bit on the face, but it's at real bass level. And they're both being actually just the outside, the main guy's coming off pretty fast. And this is just FM, rather RM, and that's causing the sharpness, which makes it feel like it's got that sort of bassy tone to it. However, layered against that, because by itself, that's what that sounds like, I am layering just straight up that tone, that 4 octave high sine wave, and it's going out just by itself. And there's also a whole bunch of reverb. I'm doing that with the effects routing here. The reverb that's built in the citrus isn't the most wonderful thing in the universe. There's a couple of different things I might have done if I were using like some third-party stuff, like Valhalla reverb or something. Not super important though. At least I feel that particular part is rather straightforward enough that you guys can kind of just do whatever you want to do on your own particular reverb styles and that kind of thing. It is, however, pushed up a lot, and some of that is being accomplished through what's going on in the compression. I changed the compression to sort of match, like the low band is pretty much just, you know, where the actual low part is, and then mid is the noise kind of by itself, and the high is just the texture that gets propped up against from the reverb, and they're all being kind of just brought up. The low is sort of being left alone because it's already quite present. And then on the master, It's also being brought up, but not super a lot. I could push it harder. If I were, you know, being smart about this, I would probably have the reverb be its own separate process entirely, and kind of control that against what's going on in the track, because it feels like it's a rhythmic part of what's going on, and is, you know, being handled with side chaining and ducking and whatever to fit that. I'm, however, trying my hardest to make a kind of one-size-fits-all thing just for this, because that's what I do on the 75Ks. Now, on the EQ, I am doing something a little bit interesting. A little bit, tiny bit. So, I have the high pass I was mentioning earlier. And then I also have these big dips down here, but you might be thinking, why would I do that? Because there's nothing there anyway. But there is something there. It's the reverb. And these being where they are important to maintain the particular kind of tone that exists in the original. And I mostly just did this by ear, but you can kind of see where the cuts are. You can see there's kind of a big hole on top of everything, and there's just a big cut right there. But then there's also sort of a one kind of in the middle there, and one right there. But that one right there can be mostly attributed to sort of how the lower tone actually behaves. Come on, Edison. Relax. And such. Anyway, that's the sound. This patcher preset will be available to download in the description in this video. If you would like to make a request for yourself, please do so in the Reddit thread linked also in the description of this video. Requests made anywhere else will be ignored. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And as usual, have a nice day.